Hi, it's Amber from Orange Olive Road. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to go from this to this. Let's talk materials. First, you're going to need a 22 needle knitting machine, some worsted weight yarn, scissors, and a yarn needle. You can make your hearts in different sizes. This is 20 rows. This one is 14 rows. And this one here is 10 rows. Now let's begin our loom work. The first thing you're going to want to do is leave a little bit of a tail, cast on your first needle, and you're going to go in front and behind, alternating to cast on. This is what we call a provisional cast on. Okay, so keep going around, back and forth, back and forth. Make sure that you put your yarn back in the carriage, and now you are going to knit, and you're going to knit 20 rows for the larger heart. Sometimes the addy gives me a little bit of trouble, so we just go slow and make sure we don't strip our gears. All right, here we go. Okay, so now that we have finished knitting our 20 rows, I'm going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to take the end and put it through my yarn needle. This one is a tapered needle. It helps me take it off the loom a little easier. Okay, so don't forget to stay in front of that white stitch. And I'm going to crank around a little bit, and now I'm going to cast off. Okay, let's go all the way around. If only I worked that fast in real life, huh? All right, so sometimes when I'm working on my 22, my last two stitches for some reason kind of get a little wonky like this. So just watch them so you don't drop them, and just go through and pick them up. Okay, just like that. Now go ahead and set your loom aside. Now let's start shaping our heart. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to give my work a gentle stretch like this all the way around. You're going to see throughout the video, right, that I'm going to do this smoothing and stretching a lot. So pull the ends, but see this right here? We don't want that to bunch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll it forward just like this. You can see all the live stitches across right here, right? So I'm going to start to pull it, but not all the way shut. Okay, just a little bit so I can smooth out the work. I want to start with clean work from the beginning because it makes the heart neater. Okay, so now make sure that all those stitches are lined up, stretch it some more, and I'm going to smooth, smooth, smooth. You're going to hear me say smooth a bunch of times, I promise. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to pull those out like this, and you want those two circles to line up. It's going to be a little bit wonky at first. You're going to see here I have a few cuts because it's just being a little bit challenging, but that is okay. All right, here we go. Again, smoothing, smoothing, smoothing. Now, you're going to take this needle. It's still threaded. You're just going to drop it through the center. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to start to pull this work closed. Okay, and so I'll do that by just doing a little half box knot right here. You can see a little closer up what I'm doing. Going to pull it just like that. I don't care if that falls off yet. All right, so see it's a little puffy here, so we want to keep stretching, right, and smoothing as we start to secure and pull that knot closed. Okay, so see that's a little puffy. It's also a little puffy on this side, so we want to smooth it out so it's nice and clean, just like this. Okay, so spend some time smoothing, 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 like I say. All right. If somebody wants to make a sand dollar a little bit later in the year, it's a good idea. Looks like a sand dollar. All right, so keep smoothing it out. All right, I like this side, right? This side is still a little puffier, so what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and secure the knot on this side. And typically, whatever side you secure that knot on, that is the side that's going to be a little bit more puffy, and that is okay because that's the back. Okay, so keep smoothing. Smooth out those ruffles as much as possible. So now that we have our front side here, this is our back. Okay, we're ready to start inserting our stitches to make the heart shape. So I'm going to use black yarn for this part so you can see where I'm going with the stitches. Okay, and I'm also going to use this straight needle like this. This makes it a little bit easier to go through the center. Okay, so again, that's our back, right? And normally what I would do is I would take this, right, from the back and I would thread it and then I would make my stitches. Okay, so what we would do is, again, I'll use my black yarn in a second, but you're going to take that and go through the center. You want to make sure it comes straight through the center. If it's off center a little bit, it will warp your heart shape, and you don't want that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see what side is the flattest. Okay, so I'm going to kind of see where I want it to go. I think there's a little divot right here, so that might be where I want it to go. Okay, so that feels pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my black yarn, and so I'm right in that same place. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to put some stitches probably in these 3 rows right here. I typically like to do those 3 rows and put them in a fan, right, kind of next to each other. So when I cinch them shut, they look even and clean. Okay, so pull your work apart a little bit, and you're looking for those horizontal bars in between your stockinette stitches right here. Okay, so you might need to pull your work apart. See how it's double layered? We're going to go through just the top layer, not through both layers. Okay, so again, it doesn't have to be super perfect, all right, but just kind of, there are those bars right there. That's what I want. So I'm going to weave in and out, right? So back and forth. Again, you don't have to do every itty bitty little stitch, but you want to get enough of them so that it's even. Okay, so see, I'm going to come up and up in there, just like that. That's what I want. Okay, and again, we want that to be kind of a fan shape. So I'm going to go over the top just like that. Okay, and see those bars right there? Kind of go in there, right? I'm going to go over those two, and I'm going to weave again in and out down the back, just like this. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but especially this first row of stitches, as neat as you can get this, that first row, it really does help kind of anchor the shape of your heart. Okay, it's being kind of testy, so we're just gonna put it in there. Make sure it comes directly again through the center. Again, that matters with the shape. Okay, so pull it through, and now we are gently going to start pulling on that string. And see how it comes down and starts making that heart shape. Okay, but again, it gets a little bit puffy, so you're going to have to kind of smooth it out as you go. Now we're going to go up along that side right there, and also along the other side right next to it. Okay, give or take, but again, sometimes you may, have some yarn, or if your heart is really small, like the 10 row heart, you may not need to do all 3. Okay, so pull it apart again, and you're going to repeat this process on both sides. You can see here it's not perfect, right? And this is a little bit testy, so we are going to see if we can unbunch that just a little bit. Okay, so again, we're going to go over that top part and look for our stitches. Okay, those bars, and weave in and out as much as possible. Okay, so go back through the center and out the front. Nope, yep, right there. All right, so pull it through. And again, because the side was kind of wonky, we're going to pull it, right? But you see it's kind of puffy, so we're going to keep massaging and keep working that, right, until it's the shape that we want. Okay, and then we're going to do that again on this next side. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the black yarn and just put the stitches in with the main color yarn of our heart. Okay, and so you can see if you pull down on the bottom, it'll start to get a little bit more pointy. Now, again, it will shrink up a little bit, right? So has a rounded bottom like these. So what you need to do is kind of pull it taut. You can block these if you want, but if you're using them for applique, you might want to block them a little bit and then stitch them on, but you'll be able to get these with a point if you stitch them on. Now I still have the string here in the front, so I am going to go just a little below the center and put my needle through. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that through. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to secure my ends. Okay, so we'll make it just a surgeon's knot or just a box knot is fine. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this pretty tight, right? And so it will secure it, but it will also, kind of finalize the shape of that heart. You might find that your heart, that center becomes a little bit more pointy when you do that. All right, so go ahead and cut your ends, all right? Or you can leave the ends if you want for sewing onto cup cozies, ear warmers, whatever you'd like. You can also put those together like this and string them together to make a garland, right? You can do whatever you'd like. Thanks so much for watching.